Hello and welcome, Million Mom Movement family. This is Fierce Friday, August 11th. My name is Carmela Velarde. I'm a Blue Diamond with the company Purium, which is a phrase created by David Sandoval, our formulator and founder of the words pure and premium put together, which truly describes the integrity and the beauty of our products, which are medicinal, whole food, superfood, nutrition. And I come to you here after 9 years of being a part of this movement, this Million Mom movement. I have a 10-year-old who's about to go to school and a 13-year-old as well. And they have grown up loving these products and learning really what alkaline, organic, whole food, nutrient dense superfoods are and why it's so important for us to share this message of this lifestyle onto our family members. And I've been a part of this council now for 3 years. So I'm really excited to be here with my council members, Neva Flore in Hawaii and Michelle Ricci. And I think she's in Denver. I might be wrong at this moment, but she'll tell you, she'll come on. We're doing a roundtable discussion about the topic of the microbiome, our body's hidden superpower. And yes, it's hidden. It's very interesting. So I'll tell you a little bit of a backstory about my relationship to this topic because my mom is here visiting from the Philippines, and I'm first generation American. And from a very young age, I was telling her my connection to this topic, and she really didn't understand. So I'm going to tell you what I was sharing with her. Basically, from a very young age, about 2 years old, I was chronically inflamed. I had rashes all over my bodies. I had allergies to foods. I was sensitive to all chemicals, including detergents, plastics. We tried to put plastic on our bed because I was allergic to dust mites, but then that plastic I was allergic to too. So I was chronically inflamed from all the different aggregates in our environment. And my parents never understood it. My doctors never really could draw a line. So here I was constantly diagnosed and prescribed, given antibiotics throughout my entire life, eating and consuming the standard American diet, and not really understanding that those addictions and these foods that are just commonplace, really, for all of us, it was not understood to be the causing factor. And it was the gut microbiome that I was always triggering. And so, my mom had so many questions this morning, and it was so nice to have her learn because she didn't really even understand what the microbiome is and that it has its own superpower if we knew how to really address its three main pathways. So we're going to go into that in a bit. And improving our gut health is one of the most effective ways to enhance our overall well-being, but it's associated as well with brain development and function, as well as the altered emotional, motor, and cognitive behaviors. And this extensive network uses the same chemicals and cells as the brain to help us to digest the world around us. And when something's amiss, so we get that gut feeling, that gut understanding and reaction, right? But the gut and brain are in constant communication. And so it is a hidden superpower, and we'd love to uncover that a little bit for you today. So I'm going to pass it over to my colleague in council, Neva Flore in Hawaii, who will share an in the news piece. And I think it'll be quite illuminating to save this onto your desktop or wherever device you are. And please take a look at it. Neva?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Carmela, for that intro. And yes, our gut health is so important. And this is a huge topic and something that we want to share far and wide because over 85% of our food is polluted with this toxic chemical that harms our gut. And so I'm going to go a little bit deeper into it right now with this article and a short video. So this is glyphosate testing results. And this is from the Detox Project and something that we've been sharing a lot about, but interpreting glyphosate levels in food. So high levels of glyphosate have been found in popular cereals and other foods, both in our home and in restaurants. Why does this matter? What effects does glyphosate have on us? What is the threat that it is safe threshold for consumption? Well, glyphosate is a main ingredient in Roundup, which is the most popular herbicide in the world. It is a defoliant, which means it destroys vegetation. There are also other glyphosate-based herbicides other than Roundup, though we will use the term Roundup here to refer to them all. Although glyphosate is the main poison in herbicide formulations, it is not the only dangerous ingredient. In fact, Roundup can be 125 times more toxic than glyphosate alone, but the residue tests are designed to identify are for glyphosate alone. In some cases, they also identify AMPA, which is a toxic chemical that results as glyphosate when it gets broken down. When Roundup is sprayed onto crops, glyphosate enters the plant while some is broken down or exuded through the roots. Significant residues remain because it is on the inside, it can't be washed off. So glyphosate is sprayed on most GMOs. More than 80% of genetically modified crops are Roundup ready. They aren't destroyed when farmers spray Roundup right away on the whole field to kill the weeds. The 6 Roundup ready crops are corn, soybeans, cotton, used in cottonseed oil, canola, sugar beets, used exclusively for sugar, and alfalfa. Many of the derivatives of these crops are found, many of the derivatives of these crops can be found throughout our food supply, especially in processed foods. The majority of the feed consumed by most livestock in the US from Roundup ready crops. So we're thinking about the meat and the eggs that we're eating. If they're not organic, they're probably eating these vegetables or these grains that have been sprayed with Roundup. Glyphosate is used just before harvest on non-GMO crops. Non-GMO crops such as grains and beans are being sprayed with Roundup shortly before harvest to kill the plants and dry it down. This lets the farmer harvest earlier. For example, in shorter growing seasons, to take advantage of higher commodity prices or to rent harvesting equipment than when it's available. The crop is harvested promptly before the herbicide has a chance to break down much. Significant residue can remain on the grain and get into the food supply. Roundup is also used on orchards, vineyards, and to kill weeds where a variety of fruits and vegetables are grown. The farmers will spray significant amounts of chem fallow or burn down a field. This means they will use it after the crops are harvested to kill all of the weeds. So then it's in the soil, you guys, and then we're replanting things in that soil. Even tiny amounts of glyphosate can cause harm. Research studies have shown that glyphosate residue on food may have damaging effects to health. Animal studies have shown that 0.1 parts per billion alters the gene function of over 400 genes in the liver and kidneys of rats, causing non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. 10 parts per billion shows toxic effects on the liver of fish, and 700 parts per billion causes alterations of kidneys and liver in rats. Peer-reviewed research indicates that glyphosate is a chelator. It binds with minerals, making them unusable by the body. Antibiotic, it preferably kills, preferentially kills beneficial gut bacteria and rather than pathogenic forms. Endocrine disruptor, at medium and high doses, it can disrupt hormones, including the sex hormone balance. Mitochondrial toxin, potentially damaging the energy source of our cells. Teratogen, leading to birth defects, and probable human carcinogen, classified by the World Health Organization's top cancer committee. So these are all huge issues when it comes to health. And there's many opinions about this. Glyphosate safe levels in foods and water are subject as much of debate, and there's insufficient research to really prove any of it. The US Environmental Protection Agency established the acceptable daily intake of glyphosate at 1.75 milligrams per kilogram of body weight per day. For a 154-pound adult, this would be 123.83 micrograms of glyphosate. They have been widely criticized for allowing far too much glyphosate in the American diet. For example, compared to the amount of glyphosate added to drinking water that causes non-alcoholic fatty liver disease in rats, the EPA allows humans to consume 437,500 times more. The ADI in Europe is 0.3 micrograms per kilogram of body weight per day, 1/6 of the US ADI. So California's Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment decided that residents should ingest no more than 1.1 micrograms of glyphosate residue per day. A single serving of Cheerios contains 28 times this level, you guys, 28 times in Cheerios. So this is something that we need to bring to our friends, to our families. So many people think that Cheerios are heart healthy. I'm going to leave this glyphosate link in the comments. It will also be reposted in our Million Mom Movement official with the replay. I encourage you all to read this all the way through, get all this information, get educated, but this is something that is really important to share about. I'm going to pivot to a 2-minute video that talks a little bit more about glyphosate and the issues that we have here in our everyday food supply.
I can't hear it, Neva.
You can't hear it?
No, there's no
Oh,
sound.
there's sound on my end. Huh, I wonder why. Let me try again. Tell me if you can hear it this time. Any sound?
Not much. Hang on, let me try to play it myself.
Let me see if I need to turn the sound up on this particular video. Oh, the sound is up on the video itself. Should we watch it without sound?
If the sound is music, I think we can all read.
Yeah, it's
perfectly
just
fine.
music.
When you go to share, there is a little box at the bottom that says share sound also.
Oh,
Yeah, and I have it up on mine if you want to.
You
switch.
would have to unshare and
Right.
reshare again to find
Okay.
that box.
Yeah, no
Mhm.
worries. Here we go. sorry about that. I muted you, muted you, Maneva. Go
Thank
ahead.
so
You were
much,
saying something.
Carmela. Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing that. And there's such pertinent information. It is important to eat organic whenever possible and really educate ourselves about the food and what foods are high in these ingredients, right? So much of our crackers and chips and breads and everyday foods are made with these ingredients in particular. And like it said, even some of the foods that are organic, this is used as a desiccant. So they use it to dry up the plant matter so they can harvest easier and rent their harvesting equipment. And so it's really important that we read the ingredients and we learn more about what's in our food. Sugar beets also, that sugar is used a lot. The oils, right, are used in everything. There's oils in everything. And so it's really important that we know what we're eating and what we are feeding our families. So this is going to be a really great presentation. Thank you so much, Carmela. I'll pass it back to you.
No, thank you so much for bringing that. Wasn't that an incredible video? Isn't that such a shareable video? So I challenge you guys today to share it out and, look at those statistics. This billions of dollars went into hiding the law cases. And this means that, we have a big role. We have a big role to educate and let people know what's going on, the truth in our food. And really, we have a lot of great articles actually Neva had pulled up for us for this week to share on. There's different reports. So, well, I wanted to share just initially, so for my mother, just coming back to her this morning, is because, she didn't even understand the microbiome. Does everyone here understand the benefit, the potency and the hidden power of the microbiome? Let's just quickly go into that because I feel like sometimes we just need that ground, the baseline understanding of this chemical, this agrochemical that is the #1 globally widely used chemical in the world. What is it affecting, right? What exactly in our physical body, physiology is it affecting? So where is this here? There it is. So what's our power? Our power is the connection of our brain with our gut, and it influences neurotransmitters on stress and anxiety, mood and behavior. It influences motility and the secretion of our secretions, nutrient delivery, microbial balance. I mean, just let that sink in and understand this affects our microbiota consists of 100 trillion microbes, and there's bodily functions that's affected in 3 pathways. So the first one is in this image here. The pathways are what was really interesting to me to explain to a new person. Well, what 3 pathways does it affect? The neural root, where 500 million neurons of the enteric nervous system, which is the body's second brain. If you've heard this before, this is how it's connected. It connects to the brain and spinal cord. And then the second really important one is the immune system, the immune root. It's where the gut and immune capacity prevents the infections from pathogens that come into our body through our nose, our mouth, and our skin. And it's insidious, this glyphosate, because this is what blocks our body's immune system to then fight against things like COVID or flus. And what do people do in the Western world is they give us antibiotics, but we're already consuming the antibiotic for the soil, which is glyphosate, which is what it was patented for initially. And the onslaught of it being impacted, it really prevents our immune system to stand up against these pathogens. And then the third one is the hormonal root. So when I had first started my Purium journey, I was postpartum with my second child, and I could not get my hormones in balance. And biologically, the active chemicals that are released from the enteroendocrine cells, they control all the mood and body functions, every mood and body function you have. So through a lot of research, the identification of the diseases, so here's the neurodegenerative diseases up top here. It affects multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, brain tumors, ischemic and hemorrhagic strokes. And then the neurodevelopmental and neuropsychiatric diseases, right? This is what we often get with coaching clients. I've been coaching this organic superfood line, and I've seen so much, so many clients on the spectrum looking to reduce depression, anxiety, stress, and there's even schizophrenia. So through research, the identification of the diseases and disorders associated with abnormal dysbiosis, we call it, has increased in number, but it has the potential of reversibility through our lifestyle. So this is why we want to help you to really see what it's affecting, how it's affecting it. I mean, these chemicals that we're talking about, it's only growing in number. The Poison in Our Daily Bread report that we often cite in our call to action, it cites over 1,200% sprayed since it started in the 70s. And so I was born in the 70s. So as I was consuming food, it was growing, and the bioaccumulation affects these pathways in such a profound way that we need to help people to internally purify these chemicals. And when we were talking about secretions, well, what are secretions? They're gut hormones, neuroactive substances, metabolites, microbiota-derived products. So these are things that are really actively, we need them every day to be in balance for us to be vital, like production of collagen, production of emotional and psychoactive cells. So yeah, that's it. And then the hypothesis of the gut-brain axis is, so our gut microbes do so many jobs, and they need to signal healthy responses. So with our lifestyle, we can see immediately through the accelerated, the 90-day path, we can see through a chart what is to be expected month 1, month 2, and month 3. And as the progression of the 90-day lifestyle comes into people's life, then you can start to see how the mental clarity becomes more acute, how your skin looks glowing. That means you're absorbing more of your nutrition. The neurotransmitters, I've had so many people with bipolar medication that were able to get off of that. There's so many interesting facets to our microbiome that we don't know about. It can stimulate immune cells to produce cytokines, and they might travel to the brain via the vessels in the circulatory system. So this is inflammation. Gut microbes can produce metabolites. These metabolites might travel to the brain via blood vessels or stimulate the gut epithelial cells to produce neurotransmitters that activate the vagus nerve. So we keep hearing, I don't know about you, but in the wellness industry, people talking about how to meditate and focus on activating the vagus nerve. And they're really talking about also how we can support our gut health, because these neurotransmitters and this nerve needs to be stimulated and activated. When it's always dulled down by these chemicals, we are infusing with this lifestyle over 90 days, a true detox of this chemical. 74% within 6 weeks is removed, third-party tested, which is why it's so important. Just keep going. You're not going to see the results in the first 30 days if you've bioaccumulated a lot, like I had. When I first started, I was 36 years old, and now I'm 45. I keep going because it's in the rain water. It's in the air. And we really need to take that out of our systems. And I just wanted to go back to the history of what the microbiome actually is. And I was curious myself. If you weren't, I looked it up, and the first coined term microbiome was only in 2001 by a Nobel laureate and microbiologist named Joshua Lederberg. So it hasn't been that long. We're talking 22 years. And if it's been sprayed since the 70s, that means there's many decades that people have been consuming and bioaccumulating without understanding the long-term effects. So remember when we were talking about the appeal coating, it's exempt from pre-market approval for longitudinal studies. So again, we have to consider what we're up against here is that they were spraying without any understanding of what the repercussions were. So we might seem a little extreme because we're very toxin free as our movement is, but no, we have to protect our future. We have to protect our genes, our DNA, because what it's doing right now with all of those billions of dollars of lawsuits, it's clearly creating a lot of damage. And we need to think about how can we help more people in the future? How can we help the children of our children's future? Like if you're going to do something to create a legacy, think about your children's children and what are they up against? And micro and biome. So I was looking into that. What is microbiome as a word? It's a portmanteau of those two things, microbes and the biome, and it describes the whole microbial ecosystem, inhabitants and all, not just the genomes. So it's like a combination, because before 2001, they didn't have this term. So they put it together because they just realized that there's a connection. And so, today, in the Million Mom movement, we're just wanting to connect dots for everyone new who's not really even understood fully what the microbiome, how these chemicals can affect our microbiome, what the power is of our microbiome. And if we cleaned it up, kept it vital, kept it alive, the older we get, we have to put more energy into it because the bioaccumulation, let me repeat that, because the older we get, the more bioaccumulation happens of this chemical from our external forces, environment. So we have to work extra hard. So we need to also contact people who are elder, people who are in their 40s, 50s, right? That are really feeling the effects now. Yes, the children, absolutely. Especially the moms, the ones who are creating the future genes. We need to get to them now. And okay, so I have my counsel here and I'd love to pass it to them. They've got so much insight on information. Michelle, would you come on? And I know we were going to talk about our sad to rad lifestyle and anything else you'd love to share.
Thanks. Hello, everyone. Yeah, these are going to be some packed calls here, and just appreciate the information set forth. And for those of you who know me, I came through a severe toxic trauma, and really, maintaining that integrity of the gut microbiome is so essential. In allopathic care and in Western medicine, they talk about the immune system and are focused on the immune system. And there are 10 other systems of the body to focus on. And that's everything happens in the gut. The crazy thing is that 70 to 80% of the immune system is in our gut. Yet it's very rarely talked about, and it's not even taught. So like Carmela was pointing to, often chemicals, routinely, chemicals are introduced into our foods, into the system, and then they don't have to have these pre-market trials. So then later, trying to go back and prove it is a bit obscure, because it's a multi-system, multi-symptom inflammatory impairment. So if, Carmela might have gut issues, but I might have brain fog, and there's so many ways it shows up because everything starts in the gut. And I don't know if it was designed this way. And I know there's many people that will say that people that are putting out the poisons are also putting out the cures, but there really isn't a cure in that system. And so our gut microbiome is made of a precise balance of commensal and probiotic intestinal strains that are inhibiting those finger-like villi. And what is happening when these chemicals come in and disrupt the making of the hormone and create the inflammation? All of these tight junctions in our gut that microvilli, it's all becomes permeable and inflamed, which creates these leakages and these secondary inflammatory reactions throughout all the other systems of the body. So if you think about fibromyalgia, what is that? It's kind of a blanket diagnosis for you have inflammation in these parts of your bodies and we don't know why, and it's fibromyalgia. Okay, well, what's IBS? You have inflammatory, or what's leaky gut? You have inflammation of the tight junctures of your gut, and we don't really know why. So every single one of these things, backache, knee pain, bloating, all of it is inflammation. It's all inflammation. And there's so many studies out there right now, and we're just pointing to these little bits and pieces, and I know it can feel overwhelming, but I did want to add to that. And we have an amazing tool. Maybe one of these ladies can bring it up, but even for people who aren't ready to invest in superfoods or completely change their diet, something that's super easy to be passing on to people is our SAD to RAD. This is such a great way to just, you know, put bees in people's bonnets, right? Where we can look through here and just start changing, you know, do a challenge, maybe run a challenge on your Facebook page of changing one thing out a week or something, right? That's what we're doing here at the Million Mom Movement. Yes, we want to get people's heads out of the sand. We want to create a fire and have people understand, but it also ramps up our nervous system to be, and creates acidosis in our body on top of all of the toxins that are coming at us. So this is a way that we can share responsibly, and we can show people how to make simple changes in their household. That doesn't always have to have everybody on board at once, which is maybe sometimes a common objection you might hear, where, you know, we have way more control than we realize here. And we do have the ability to make good choices, the best choice we can make, because we are going to be inadvertently exposed to toxins throughout our day, no matter what. So if we can make decisions to make clean choices as often as possible, this is going to also help us repair our digestive tract. The most important thing to remember is that when you have a damaged or impaired digestive tract, it takes time to rebuild and repair. So the more natural you can get and quiet the external influences in your life, people, sometimes doctors, I mean, obviously I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you not to go see a doctor, but what I can tell you is that the results are common here. They are not the exception. And it's because we're teaching people how to take their power back and decide for themselves what they're going to ingest, whether it be food, conversation, where they habitate, all these things. So using plastic, not taking receipts, you know, only buying from companies that have, you know, some amazing companies out there, but only buying from companies or supporting companies that are going plastic free or helping them go plastic free, getting them connected. Look, how to avoid pesticides as much as possible, how to clean fruits and vegetables. This is such a great, easy read. You can read it with your kids and your family, and just give this freely, like every day, like do a challenge. I'm going to give SAD to RAD to 3 people. Put a thing up on your Facebook post. I'm looking for 10 people to give a free resource to that's going to help them flip over their kitchen and have non-toxic kitchens. You know, there's so many ways that we can do this, you guys. And I think Kimberly just put something, what a great idea to add to the back of the SAD to RAD, what distributors are using the appeal. So that could be something that we could add. And thank you for that suggestion, Kimberly. Looking out for greenwashing, how to do that. So you guys, we put so much love into this, and the council before I was even here was compiling all this information, and here it is. And what a gift. Then you don't have to, like, people are like, oh God, here she comes again. She's going to tell me all the things I'm not doing right in my life. Just give them this and have them flip through it and see what sticks. And that's how we can get into more people. So I'll pass it back.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle, and talking about this piece, because we are always giving you teachable tools. We have to make our movements. We don't have to. We need to. We should want to. After hearing all of this incredible information about what we have as a solution for the issues at hand and what our powers really are, we want to help our friends and family have these superpowers. I say superfoods for superhumans. And oh, there was something I could not leave out, because we were talking about glyphosate and its impact on the gut. Well, in 2019, a study in rats provided the first definitive proof that glyphosate and Roundup can inhibit the series of biochemical reactions known as the Shikimati pathway. So if you heard about this, anything about gut health, the Shikimati pathway, in the gut microbiome, it's a bacterial population. So that's the pathway. It's a bacterial population and can cause alterations in abundance of certain bacteria. The Shikimati pathway is responsible for the synthesis of aromatic amino acids that are vital for the production of proteins. So our gut has over 300 square feet. It's the largest organ when you stretch it out. And that has a lot of probable damage. And not only that, the synthesis of protein to build healthy protein, collagen, to build healthy collagen. That's why it's really great if you have a leaky gut, like Michelle was talking about, all these issues that it can present as. Some people who present with really leaky gut, help them with their collagen. Always infuse that dark berry protein and the Renew Skin, Hair, Nails in there with their, if they say I have leaky gut, that's a sure shot that they need that collagen support. So that production is the building blocks of our life. Okay, I think we're not yet at questions, Gleneth. Unless, what do you think, Council? Should we? Yeah, we'll leave it till the end, Gleneth. If you just give us a second, because I'm going to pass it over to Nayeva, who's going to dig into how to navigate the lifestyle, the health habits. She has a great article she wants to also provide for us. Nayeva?
Thank you so much, Carmela and Michelle. Such great information. And yes, I wanted to share with you all a little bit, because I don't know if you all know, but Hawaii is actually the ground place for where GMOs are created. Across the US, they can plant GMOs and create the seeds, but it would take 7 generations to create a hybrid seed. And so something that most people don't realize is that in Hawaii, because we don't have seasons per se, then we can really be able to grow year round. And this makes it to where they can create a 7-generation seed crop in under 2 years. And this is incredibly scary, especially for the Hawaiian Islands and the Hawaiian people. And right here in my backyard actually is where Monsanto has their warehouse, and what they keep banning it. And you know what they do? They keep coming back with a new name. Currently, they're under Corteva, which is a new subsidiary of Monsanto, and they keep coming back and creating their seed crops here, and they're polluting the soil, they're polluting the water, and they're actually, that water is going out into the coral reefs and killing the coral reef, which also in turn kills the fish, which is what a lot of the people here live off of. So it's a huge detriment to the people that live here, and it's a huge issue. And so, you know, as you educate, that's something else that you can share about, is like, we all know what has, like, all these fires that have happened on Maui, praying for all of them right now, everybody that's lost their homes and family. And, you know, at the same time, a lot of those sugarcane fields and pineapple fields that are sprayed with glyphosate have now burnt up as well. So there's tons of toxins within that smoke, and that's a whole nother issue. And so, this is something that's huge. And right now it's like in the news, literally. And so it's something that can be talked about. You know, a lot of people are talking about the fires that just happened. And so I did want to share an article. I just was pulling it up here. And let me see. Here it is. And it's an article that we've shared often in the past with you all, and it talks about the poison in our daily bread. So this is the glyphosate contamination. It might look familiar to you because we've shared this many times in the past. The poison in our daily bread talks about pre-harvested spraying of Monsanto Bayer's Roundup is leading to contamination of essential healthy foods. And we've shared this article several times because this was put out by the Detox Project, which we work really closely with. They are the ones that put our seal on the Biomedic, proving that it removes glyphosate by 74.5% in 6 weeks. And that also lowers the C-reactive protein, which is an inflammatory marker in your body. And we know that most diseases are caused by inflammation. So this is a really great article for you to share far and wide. And it has so much great information in it. And pre-harvest spraying of Monsanto Bayer's Roundup is leading to contamination of essential healthy foods as well. As I was sharing earlier, it's sprayed on even organic foods. And this is something that's really scary because when we go and look for organic labels, and sometimes we don't even know if that's really that safe after all, because it can't be washed off or cooked off of our food. And so it's a huge issue and something that we need to ban, not only, in our homes, but in society in general. Like ban it in America, ban it in Hawaii, right? That's what we've been working on here in Hawaii, is banning it on our islands. And unfortunately, they always get a loophole and rebuild it with another name. But this is something that we need to start getting really proactive about, because widespread glyphosate contamination is found in the food supply across America. More than half of the foods tested contain glyphosate. I want to say over 85% have glyphosate in it. And that's something that's really detrimental because we all eat food every single day. And it's hard for some people to wrap their minds around eating organic every day, as the prices are a little bit higher. And it really is about the food choices that we're making. And so you can see here, I'm just going to skip down to this third paragraph where it says, more than half foods tested, a total of 45 foods out of 86 products, contain alarming levels of glyphosate, ranging from 12 parts per billion, which is a high amount, in sprouted whole grain bread. So I'm curious, how many of you out there are choosing the whole wheat bread over the white bread, right? This is something that I used to do. And now I know that even the whole grain or whole wheat bread that I'm choosing, if it's not certified organic, and even if it is certified organic, it may have parts per billion of glyphosate, which is really alarming. So this is from Whole Foods, as high as 889 part per billion in Walmart's brand chickpeas, and 1,040 parts per billion Whole Foods 365 brand whole wheat sandwich bread. So this is in whole wheat breads, whole grain breads, across the board at all these different stores, and at alarming levels as well. So these are not only in genetically engineered food, they still contain ingredients that are at high risk of glyphosate contamination. And this is a huge issue. We'll be sharing this article into our groups so that you can go further down. But even healthier foods and plant-based staples contain highest levels of glyphosate. To provide as much information to the consumer as possible, especially those with chronic health issues, comprised immune systems, and others seeking to eat healthier diets, we focus on testing the foods that had been perceived or marked as health. So I'm going to go down this list here really quickly. We've done a call to action on many of these foods in the past, but at a glance, 37 conventional foods were tested, 23 contain glyphosate. 26 non-GMO foods were tested, 18 were positive for levels of glyphosate. 23 organic foods were tested, and 5 tested positive for glyphosate. And these are the stores that of where those products come from that were tested. So Hy-Vee, Whole Foods, Walmart, Target, and natural grocers. And this is something that's really alarming because these are our main food supply stores across the board in most of the states. Non-GMO, widely contaminated with glyphosate residues. Organic obviously has a lot less. And foods sprayed with glyphosate as a pre-harvest desiccant had highest levels of glyphosate. You know why? Because they're spraying it right before harvest. And so it has no time to wash off, through rains or through the sunlight or anything like that. And so it's really sad, but it's in, wheats, oats, barley, Roundup Ready sprayed crops, including chickpeas, garbanzo beans, peas, grapes, rice, sunflowers, and has been alarming levels on crops that are even not genetically engineered or made to withstand glyphosate. So it is a huge issue in our food supply. And bear with me a second while I scroll down this page, but I wanted to show you the glyphosate level, how it's gone up over the years. In 1993 to 2016, human glyphosate level spikes are alarming by 1,208%, you guys, over 1,000% increase in glyphosate in our bodies. And so it's really important that we detox glyphosate so that we can reduce the inflammation and reduce these toxic effects that it has on our organs and on our body and on our health overall. And so you can go down to the bottom of this list and see all of the foods that have the highest levels of glyphosate. It's quite a few pages down. So I'm not going to share it with you right now, but this article will be posted in our Million Mom Movement official. So make sure and join that group so that you can get these articles and share them far and wide with your community. And I just want to say thank you so much, Carmela. Pass it back to you.
Thank you. That was great to always bring it back to our, that article. Henry Rollins did a great interview. So find that on our YouTube channel too, please, if you want to go deeper into that, that report too. Michelle, I'd love to call you on to see any insight that you might have also for this lifestyle education piece of the share of the microbiome.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Are you pulling up this article, or what I really wanted to talk about was that, remember how Monsanto said that they were banning glyphosate in 2023? Yeah, well, it's 2023. So, but I can go over this article on the lifestyle and shopping and, picking things out. It's just important, you guys, that we have this information. And when we go to the store, that we're actively looking and not just saying, well, I didn't know, or I don't have control, or somebody else in my house shops for me, or, there's information here. And we are sharing that with you. And that's what the Million Mom Movement does, right? The call to action that I want to do today is to have you pull out your phones and really join us in banding together on this call to action about this lifestyle and about supporting people and helping to arm them with the information of what to do when they go to the grocery store. A lot of people are just paralyzed and aren't making the changes because it feels overwhelming and they don't know what they look at. And, somebody that hears, oh, well, organics have glyphosate on it anyways. They're like, well, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, those are the people that when we are being examples of this lifestyle, normalizing this lifestyle, we're helping people calm their nervous systems and get connected with the truth about what their body needs and how to listen to it and how to live this lifestyle. So this is a great, another article, and we're going to put this up, of course, on our replay, but just how to avoid GMOs and Roundup. There's a Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen list. That is a great thing to look at. There's certain foods that Naiva was saying this earlier. Some grains and foods are sprayed 9 times from seed to decanting agent, which is a drying agent, with the same chemical, glyphosate. So just knowing what are those crops? What are the most highly sprayed crops? Who are the companies, and how to shop? So these are things that we absolutely know will contain it. I mean, we get to help other people pull their heads out of the sand and just gently give them alternatives. I'm always going to go back to that SAD to RAD. It is such a great tool, even if you don't know the answer to something. Thank Carmela.
Absolutely. We all know that these products contain them. So thank you for empowering the community, Michelle, because we do have control, and it's so important just to hear it from people who are upholding that themselves, and we are doing our best every single day. So I wanted to just pivot to a little bit of Q&A before you get to call to action, Michelle.
Okay.
And I'd love for everybody to get into that mode of what would you like to ask us in the Million Mom Movement? What would you like to share? So I'll just start to mute Glenneth first. And if you have a question, just please raise your hand.
Oh, yeah. I was just trying to find that Sad to Rad app on the Million Mom Movement. And somehow at least on the phone, it looked quite different. So I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I just put into the chat. We have it in the official. Naiva had posted it in our link in the Instagram page. And you could find that also, where else, Naiva? On Facebook. Also on our Facebook official group. It's everywhere, actually. So we'll make sure to post in a replay of this this Zoom on our Facebook group official, and always look at the link in our Instagram page, Million Mom Movement, and it's there along with in our link tree.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have recipes as well, so dive in. Does anyone else have any questions, shares? This is a community call, so Angelo, come on, brother.
Thanks a lot. These calls are so important. I think most people in our society don't have well, I won't say no clue, but very little clue about what's happening with our food systems right now. And I'm so grateful that you guys are bringing light to this. I was just on a recent road trip from California to New Mexico and around Arizona and California through a lot of the agricultural places in America, Bakersfield, California, and saw so much spraying on the side of the roads, people in suits, like the full-on suits that you see, the hazmat suits, and then migrant workers working with just like hoods on, not really a full-on hazmat suits. These are people that are probably undocumented citizens of the United States working because that's all they have. And they're just being exposed to spray from glyphosate or whatever chemicals they were spraying. It definitely wasn't healthy because they were wearing these hazmat suits, and these poor people that were harvesting these crops right next to them were just basically relying on a hood pulled up over their head, not even goggles. It was very sad. So I always buy organic. That's really my takeaway. And thank you for bringing light to this.
Thank you also for always sharing on your timeline, and follow our friend here because he did a great lunch and learn on his lifestyle tips. So thank you, Angelo, for being a definitely like upholding community member in our Million Mom Movement. Appreciate you. Jordan.
Thank you. Carmela, I have a question. I'm so curious about like the dialogue between you and your mom, and curious what, if there was like a magic moment for her, what that was where it started to click. Because I think that's something so many of us can relate to, and we're so deep in this. It's hard sometimes to like get out of all the details. So I'm just curious, like, was there any particular moment in that conversation that you might find might help us? Yeah.
So I mean, it's your mother, right? So you're having a conversation with your mom. I said, Mom, you remember when I used to go to that Amish farmer's market, and I used to come out, you used to come out with all this fresh food, and I came out with a box of Pop Rocks. Like that was my thing. I like Pop Rocks and cotton candy. Remember when I just downed that whole thing, and that was like my addiction? That was who I was when I was a kid. Do you remember how I was so inflamed all throughout, and I was diagnosed ADHD, and then I was hospitalized because I couldn't stop scratching? Do you see how that like relates, and how, you know, at that time you were so busy and I didn't know, we all didn't know. And then she started feeling weepy, of course, like that weepy feeling of like, oh shoot, I could have done something had I known. And I said, Mom, it's okay. Like, we're learning. The microbiome was only known in 2001, but this Nobel laureate. So it's this like, remember when conversations and how I couldn't focus in school. Yet I'm really an intelligent person, but I just didn't do well in school because I could never focus. So I had to bring her back to those times where she was frustrated as a mom too, trying to figure out, look, who here is a mom trying to figure out why their children aren't focusing, aren't at home, they're great, but then when they go out and they eat food outside, they go crazy. We have to really draw the dots. That's all we can really do. And I can't believe it's taken this long for my mom and I to sit down about this, but I can't wait to show her this video. So thank you so much for asking that question. I think that this is a community call, so it's important. Thank you so much, Jordan. I hope that answered it. And Kimberly, come on. Yes.
Hi, everyone. It's so great to see everyone. This has been such a powerful call, but I just wanted to come in to have deep forgiveness for all the moms, because my mom did it perfect in every single way. I was allergic to wheat, sugar, dairy, soy, all of it since I was born. And so I was on Fruitios to all the things that you were supposed to feed your kids. And it was horrible. And so it wasn't fun in any way, shape, or form. And so any moms that are still feeding their kids the sugar and the things, it's like, we have to be the example first, and then maybe we can get it going. So, again, if your mom's going to watch this, there's no shame and no guilt. And it's not easy to have the kids eat the way that would be the best for them, but it's also doable. I think of Tammy Trissel, my lady. She got her kids off of Oreos, Doritos, and all the things. And she's like the original sad to rad mom with just switching out all of the different things. So just little by little, we keep adding the good things in, and soon enough, you'll be able to have your kids eating all the good things. So just be innocent and know that we have these tools now, and we're just going to keep going and keep feeding each other. So all is well.
Thank you, sister. Jordan and Kimberly really tying in, because it's key to go into action with grace for yourself. Like, this is where I got to have that conversation with my mom, saying, it's okay, we're learning all together. So I want you to do better too. And this is why. So, okay, we're wrapping up. We're at the hour. Thank you for staying on an extra minute. But Michelle, please close us out with the call to action. Actually, close us out as well.
Well, like I said, that this glyphosate was supposed to be off the shelves by 2023. And I think you've seen all the ways that they have been sneaking around and rebranding and reintroducing, and here we are again. So in the comments, I did post a link where you could contact your lawmakers. So this is kind of call to action homework, or make a post right now. And this could be the call to action of like, hey, this was supposed to be done. What happened? How many of my friends will sign this and contact lawmakers with me and do a call to action this way? So in 2015, the World Health Organization confirmed glyphosate, the main ingredient, is a probable human carcinogen. We talk about this all the time, and this was supposed to be out of the system. They've just found another way. So we get to be smarter. We get to arm people with education. And that is really what the call to action is about. Million Mom Movement is 1,000 moms in 100 communities reaching out to 10 families. So how are we going to continue to grow this movement? Who are your 10 people? Are people come to mind, that mamas that that need this information, that need the Sad to Rad flip book? Just start writing people down on a piece of paper. We're not saying go run out and just attack people with this information and be like, but you're on my list. But just the people who in your life who you really do want to support in shifting, or communities or groups or book clubs or the PTA or whatever it is, and just start formulating a way to normalize this in your life so that you are the person that people think of when they don't feel good and they want to feel better and it's been far too long, that you're the person that they think of to come to. So start figuring out whose hand is up. And one way to do this is to make a post. Okay, so you can get back, here's you can share the pledge with people. These are all ways that we can move to call to action. So contact your state legislator, let them know how important it is to get glyphosate out of agriculture and lawn care. Sign the petition. So maybe, let's see if I can put this in the chat for us. Put this here. Let me know if that opens. If not, again, I'll tell you everywhere that you can find what you need. So let me read the pledge to you really quick, or is somebody unmuted that would like to read the pledge? Jordan Summers.
Jordan.
All right. I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and the environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement.
Thank you so much, Jordan. And we are the Million Mom Movement. I am the Million Mom Movement. You are the Million Mom Movement. We're doing this together. So perhaps share the pledge for call to action on top of the legislator. If you contact your legislator, make a post asking people to do this with you. Share the pledge and maybe use that call to action that I just put in the comments about the pledge, about families that you're looking for that want to up-level your health. Do your own version of this. And always, always tag us. I am the Million Mom Movement. We are the Million Mom Movement, Million Mom Movement, so that we can further share your voice and help you lift you up and the 10 people that you're reaching out to. So come and like us on our Million Mom Movement Facebook page at the Million Mom Movement. We have an official group, the Million Mom Movement Official. You can follow us on Instagram at Million Mom Movement. You can follow us on Twitter at Million Mom Movement and subscribe to our Million Mom Movement YouTube channel. When you go to the Million Mom Movement official Facebook page, invite your friends. We post the replays every week, and in the comments are all the links and all the flip books and all the things that we talked about. So don't forget to join us. And next week, I'm going to be excited to host on the tart cherry, and I'm going to have some guests with me that are going to help me present on sleep hygiene. So don't miss it. Back to you, Carmela.
Thanks, Michelle. All
Oh
right.
my gosh, I almost
Let's
forgot. I'm so
move in.
sorry. We have lunch and learn in
Lunch and
between, you
learn. I was
guys.
just about to say
And
it.
the cat's been out of the bag. I know we don't have all the details yet, but it is going to be the Cat's Meow teaser about our Epigenius cats coming up on the 16th before Friday. That's Wednesday. Thanks. Sorry about that, Carmela.
Okay. I'm excited to host that episode. So come on this coming Wednesday and learn. There's so many cat lovers. Look at the food nutrition in dogs as well as cats. They're all suffering too. So we do need to support our feline friends. So thank you, Naiva. Thank you so much for all that wonderful research and education. Thank you, Michelle, as well for all your tips and heart. See you all next week. Bye for now.